Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Mid-Raid Open Mic. This is Season 2, Episode 2, and you'll notice that we're a bit late on the panel tonight, but then that's not surprising due to the nature of the fact that we're in the Mid-Raid. I'll say hello to the Hulsh is on, and Tito's on, and then there's us for admins. So Stu's here, George here, and Brian's here, and obviously myself, TSM. Wow. So is that a good start? So I say wow?
Accurate.
You shall not pass. Gandalf.
You shall not pass. Oh, okay. So, no, I'm not going to start, actually. Brian, you can start, and I'll say nothing. Go on.
Hey! Yeah, the raid is a lot more difficult than people thought. I know there was a lot of negative feedback from the preview server. I don't know how much they changed, but it doesn't look like much. The holes that were sold to us as being useful, those being Centurions and Punishers, and even the Zealous. My apologies if you bought those offers. The Zealous is not good. Those aren't working. Even the Cannoneer with the Mouser is bad. It's terrible unless you paid the money to get the Millennium Gun and refitted it on, and then you're doing okay. But other than that, it's a really hard climb.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. I totally agree. George, thoughts, mate?
They're twofold. In the position that I find myself in, having the cannon and now the special, I ground and got the special, started refit and used the tokens. I am having a blast now, but it's only because I actually have the stuff that you need. If you don't have the stuff for these targets, man, I feel for you. I don't know. I do not know how people are doing it. I can understand why people are blowing the heck out of this thing, because holy shit. And once you get the stuff, I'm going to tell you, it is probably one of the most fun raids I've had in a long time. Once I had to participate. Blast. Loved it. Love the targets. Love everything. I mean, there's little glitches here and there, but if you don't have, man, you're gonna have a tough time. You're not gonna enjoy this at all. I don't expect anybody to enjoy this that does not have the stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I must admit. Yeah. Well, anyway, Stu, your thoughts, mate, please.
Sorry, I was typing like mad on Facebook, mid-raid and all that. It's all crazy. I only had 2 Cannoneers going into the raid, so it was kind of difficult for me to start off. I was very ill-prepared leading up to the raid, and most people probably were. I only have 4 guns on each as well, and I didn't have the new special refitted straight away. But I found doing 74s, I found my little pattern. I did a video on it, and once I nailed that little pattern, I had fun. I actually had a lot of fun trying to break the target initially. I think all of the targets are very well designed. I think the preparation for players is a bit lacking, really, if I'm honest. But besides that, I mean, I did actually have a lot of fun hitting 74s. So I'm hoping by next raid I'll have the rest of my Cannoneer fleet finished, the Harlot Cannoneer, all the toys, blah, 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 all the bells and whistles. And I'm hoping to be able to compete a lot easier next time.
Yeah, good point. Hulsh, mate, what about you, buddy?
Well, I started this raid with just my 4 Cannoneers, but they had mostly just crossbows on them and some ARBs. I was able to do 71s and 73s for instant damage with proper driving and no lag. And 75s, I got 20 minutes repair one time and like 40 minutes repair one time. So, and after that, I got the Millennium Gun and the special. I put it just on one ship with it, and it's made so much difference. I can do 75s for instant repair now.
Yeah, so it's all about tech again, isn't it?
But it's still doable without the special and the gun. It is doable, but you need the Cannoneer. That's the thing.
Tito, mate, welcome.
Well, welcome. Thank you. I think that the raid is a crap, and because I don't see the raid just as the targets, but the leading to the target, the release of the blueprints that you are required to do it, and also the raid itself. The raid got glitches, but we know that there are glitches in at the start of every raid, and hopefully mostly of them, at least the most painful ones, have been fixed. But even in that situation, I find that all that has been coming till this point has been not the right way that they should take. The weapon that you need has been released too late. If you are not a coiner, I don't think that people have the cannoneers full of those weapons, and all the old weapons, due to the armor points on those targets, are way too high. Another thing that I see, and I hope they fix if they are going to do raids with siege targets, is that they give some BXP to those buildings, at least to the ones that do damage, because there is people that still have cannoneers that are not full rank, and they are getting 3 or 4 points of BXP for doing the full set. And that, I think, it's a bit unfair.
That's a good. I mean, that's a good point. The VXP thing. There's a lot of people that are affected with low VXP cannoneers.
Yeah, I was just about to say as well. I mean, there was a bug actually I noticed too. I'm not sure if it's just the 74 or it's all of the targets, but the buildings have a really huge sort of hitbox, and it's kind of annoying when you're trying to maneuver around stuff and you turn and you're clearly not hitting anything, but yet you're stuck on something. You know,
yeah, that's
very frustrating.
The footprint doesn't match with the skin that they put on top of it, and yes, you are clicking on what you think is water, and for the game you are clicking on the wall, and you are completely stopped. And another thing, if you click a long distance and one of those walls shows in the middle of your way, the path AI that they are using gets doomed and doesn't know what to do and just stops, and that normally means damage to you. So you have to be constantly clicking a waypoint just ahead of you, or if not, you are screwed.
I was just about to say as well, like, I mean, when I actually got stuck on this fake wall that wasn't even there, you know, like, it was the first version of that video I tried to upload today. And I took like an extra 20 minutes damage just because I could not get out. It was kind of like, you know, hitting nothing. It was unreal.
Yeah, I found that when I was testing the tier 4, the 50s, that at least the 55 have a sort of wall with magnets, because you get stuck to them and you have to pray that you are not in range of any of the long range turrets, because if not, you cannot even retreat to fix your ISO. So I hope that they fix that for the next raid.
Yeah, interesting. So this is, I'll show you something that I sent in to Kix. I'm not sure if everybody can read that there, but basically I read it out. So basically I sent in a thing, and this is mine. So it's on an area that it's not public, but it's my typing, so I can read it out. So I basically said then, okay, all I can say is I'm 100% happy with the targets. They are fun to do and they're extremely well presented. Now, I did not fit out my 4-scope cannoneers until the raid had started, and I'd seen the targets for real from somebody else in the alpha world. I then built them using a 30-day token on offer that happened last at the end of December it was, but left the special slots off, or a special slot off for the HVR round, which I knew was coming in part of the prize pack. 3 runs and I had the power for the 75 sorted. I pushed out a quick 30-minute stream, and a couple of guys of the admins here were on that. To aid a very frustrated community, I continued to hide the points to collect the HVR for each hull. I then refitted and added a DOS crew and then blasted out 71 to 73s until I had enough points to get the Harlock Cannoneer. I had 9 days of tokens stacked up, and I built that there with an additional 3 days coined. With paving sorted in all 3 of the 70s, I'm now completing a full set with approximately 5 or 6 minutes in instant fix. So that's me, that's my raid, and it sounds perfect, doesn't it? However, that sounds like it's a successful raid, but to me, I have all the right equipment available at the right time for a reasonable outlay. Unfortunately, approximately 95% of the community are having a shit raid. And there was little direction over the last 45 days regarding the rollout of hulls, weapons, and specials. This, spelling mistake there, noticed, this has been compounded by a residual time remaining to fit them in real time when they finally did arrive. Summary, great raid, I like it a lot, but a shitty delivery from the off. What a real shame. And that's it from me.
I agree with absolutely every single word you put there. Well done. We should end this show there. That was fucking perfect. Excuse my French.
I agree.
That's it. So I think probably one of the best raids ever. If you can hit the targets. If you can't hit the targets, you're having a crap time. I love the design. I love the fact that bits pop up. I love the fact that actually once you've sussed them out and got the pathing right, you can do them in a really good order and that sort of stuff. And it makes sense. You can stack, as you've said, 10 of one, go and do 10 of another, and that's something else. But the fact is, the delivery has been shocking. And because the delivery has been shocking, people are now so frustrated that they're going and hitting 1 or 2 targets, hoping that Kicks are going to give them something like 3 million points, 10 million points, or something like that. I know that's been the case because the drop-off has been huge. Brian, you were saying today, what was your points total, mate, based on what you said? You said you had 15 million points and you were where?
Yeah, as of about, it would have been about an hour ago, because it would be 2 days through Epsilon's raid. I had 15.5 million, and I'm at about 5,000 global. So about 5,000 people are on pace for 30 million, or there were some that took advantage of a certain glitch in Alpha World and something campaigns,
Oh, yes.
magical hand waving.
Not their fault, though.
I don't know how that is compared to other raids, but it's been really weird for me because the first 9 million for me was terrible because I didn't have the gun or the special, and I had to like save up tokens and do some like massive pins and papers in a wall with colored string, like crazy mapping routing of what exactly I have to do and when. After I get all my stuff to refit stuff on and put stuff on. And it's getting better as I get new tech, but that's exactly the problem. We should have been able to do this. Mousers should have been good enough. And even then, I don't think there was actual real time to fit all mousers onto your stuff. Maybe with tokens, maybe. But no, because it's about half a day, so it's about 5 days. Yeah, not even then. No. I don't think there was enough time between reading the mouser and stuff, so. And the DPS for the Millennium is so much higher. The routing that you see in a lot of videos relies on a certain DPS in order to kill the turrets.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Kill the turrets in one pass, kill the long-range ballistic before it pops up and starts firing. And a lot of people, good drivers as they are, just can't do that because they don't have the tech. And that's a real problem.
Yeah, no, agreed. I must admit, and on my son's account, he's actually got two ironclads built with mousers and that stuff. I think he's got all mousers on each of them with 2 S cannons, and he has managed to in the last hour managed to do a full 71 through to 75. But I'm not sure the damage is the same as it was when the raid started off. I'm not 100% convinced that it is. I'm not saying it's more. I'm not saying it's less. But it doesn't seem as you are taking as much damage as you were before. I'm not sure because I didn't start. It's a weekend, so we couldn't do it on a Thursday. But it just seems interesting. It was basically all 3 targets for 2 hours and 20 damage.
Yeah, I think it's been debuffed because I cranked through like 10 sets and ended up with an hour damage. I think the splash has been reduced in the 75 on that big cannon. I mean, I think they've been tweaking it to kind of better fit what people are hitting it with. Brian brought up a really good point. We should not have I spent all of the tokens that were available in the raid trying to refit to get to this. Okay, and I had the Millennium already. So if you came into this not having that, you needed 15 million points to get that, and the special, and you had to refit it. I mean, I shouldn't be trying to puzzle through in the raid trying to find out what's going to work when we were supposed to have this a month. We were supposed to be prepared a month ago. This was supposed to be tuned for Centurions. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I have seen some. I've seen a Centurion, a couple of videos actually, where a guy of Centurions has done very, very well. I can't quite remember who it is, but he has been doing the 70s using Centurions, that sort of stuff. But he's got a specific build, and it's a good build. It's fine, using a bit of pack and a bit of this. He's got some good speed. That's what he's got.
But even with that good speed, did you see the repair time at the end? 13 coins.
Yeah, it was. It was quite harsh, but if he completes a set, I mean, it's not really the Centurions were designed, weren't they, to do tier 4, weren't they? It's a tier 4 hull.
But I mean that it's sort of misleading they gave us, because when you tell me that with the fleet I can do a set target A with the Centurions, for example, I expect that I can at least cope that 1 million 1 coin.
Yeah.
If I can cope that, I agree with you that that's the fleet, that the target has been adapted, so you can do it. The problem is that that's not the case. Because if you count 13 or 14 coins that is costing to do 2.5 million or a bit more than 2.5 million, I think it's just one one coin 100,000 points, and that I think it's quite unfair.
Well, as it was just mentioned in the chat there, okay, Nick's just mentioned actually. So let's if you add it up, I mean, for me, it's 90 million points from the last raid. Yes, you got another chucking hole, which is great, and you know, a base hitting hole, which is fantastic. But you still had to obtain 90 million. Then you had to go and get that special to get the camp, to get the Millennium, and then you had to go and obviously fit out, obviously, you know, your cannoneers as best you could, you know, and then obviously get them ranked as well, because that's hugely important as well. So by doing all that, that's an awful lot of prep time. Now, I mean, like I said in my version in that 30-minute stream I did, you know, I built all 4 holes initially in the week 1 from the previous raid. Then I ranked them to Scold, and I left them, and the raid had already started for an hour, and I didn't fit a damn thing on them because I wanted to confirm that the high velocity rounds was definitely in the price pack, you know, and then, you know, I had to then purchase that 30-day of fleet build tokens, preempting the fact that I knew that I really wasn't sure what the build was going to be, but by the day the raid started, they probably had a set pattern and they knew what they wanted us to do. By watching 2 or 3 videos, I knew the build I should build, and I went ahead and did it. And I had a few tokens left over, I think about 8 tokens left over. So when I got the HVR round, I managed then to switch it on as well and put that in. I shouldn't have to go to that level to do that. I mean, that's just me.
Yeah,
who tries to help the community out. Nobody else can, very few can do that.
And that's you saying that you're doing the targets for, well, instant repair, mostly of them. But if we got, we count all the targets you're going to need from now till the end of this ride type, in 2 months ahead, and you divide that, and you divide the amount of coins, tokens or more you have spent just to do it, I guess that you don't want to know the numbers, because you will put your head in your head and say, oh my goodness, what have I done?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know exactly. I preempted the, you know, because I one thing I've learned with these raids is if you get it squared away on raid 1, the rest of them are fine. Now we've taken 1 raid out of each of the cycles now, so I'm, you know, it's my outlay versus my return. So my return normally, you know, not too keen on the way the hell raids kept changing themselves last time, so hopefully these will stay the same. But you know, I have a set amount, the same as Stu, that I know that I can prepare and use for a raid, and then I can have an easy raid for the next 3 or 4, and I can help my alliance. This is what I've been doing, and so some of my other players as well. But I find it frustrating, just the delivery. There was no way of me prepping for this, and I know it's a new raid format, and I know they're going for a new number of raids in this year's cycle and that sort of stuff. But I just think maybe because it is Christmas and there was some stand down and that sort of stuff, and they had a few people off and that stuff. But I just think the delivery aspect has really screwed this potentially excellent raid.
Well, adding to that as well, I mean, don't forget as well that, you know, obviously they didn't bring out the gun special that was intended to be used with the cannoneer strip. So that right from the bat threw a lot of players off. Everyone was chucking whatever they could find on the cannoneer, you know, to get them up and running and out. You got to think of the amount of refits that people did as well. I mean, that was one of the things that annoyed me more than not having the tech. You know, it's kind of like, well, I've got these cannoneers sat here, and I'm not just going to, you know, leave them there in my dock doing nothing. I want to put something on them, get out to use, you know, practice driving them. You know, so I threw a bunch of Mausers and, you know, pack cannons and stuff like that on there. I took them out for a spin in some base part mines, stuff like that. And then when the new cannon and that comes out at the time limited offer, it's just like, oh crap, now I've got to refit again. You know, I mean, we knew we had to, but I mean, it's hard to sit there and leave a hole being unused for so long.
Yeah,
you know?
And I mean, knowing that so many people are having to refit this, I mean, especially the way they rolled this out, I was actually hoping to see a lot more tokens available in this raid. Like, I mean, more than we usually get in a hull raid. Because I've blown through them just trying to refit for this raid. I'm not going to be up on tokens at all now.
I've used them all. I've got none left.
I've used them all. I mean, I'm screwed.
Yeah, and they have been short, as you said, because last time when they released that Tide Seeker, they gave you enough tokens so you could build 2 of those. This time you can barely build the first.
Do you know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see the points doled at the same targets, but the points doled down by, say, 50%, and then let people, and don't do the Millennium Cannon early, have it in this raid, and then don't do the Mouse Cannon early, have it in this raid as well, and then you could win those prizes in this raid, and then they could warn us and say, oh, by the way, next one, it's going to be harder, you're going to need a refit and that sort of stuff. And then in some respects, we could have preempted that and gone, right, first one's out the bag, we've got to do a refit, we've got a month to do it, no problem at all, and actually be prepared for the next month. we'd have all been going
Yeah.
with pack cannons and other things and earth shakers for the irons and that sort of stuff, and we'd have been generally okay. Because all they got to do is, and it's a simple mechanic, surely, to turn the target damage ratio down.
Yeah,
we wouldn't be where we are now.
That's what I said in one of the, I think it was in the rant blog. I mean, I was like, I have absolutely zero problem if they came out ahead of time and if they were transparent about it and said, hey, look, we're tuning this one down. The next one's going to be a lot harder because you're going to have the crap.
But
So
for
don't
now,
get used to
packs
this.
and arbalasts can do it fine,
Yes.
or railguns or whatever it is. I don't know, but proportionally.
I mean, so long as they tell us that, I have no problem with them, tuning each raid. You know what I mean? But they got to tell us. They can't just go up. Guess what? Surprise!
Yeah.
Another thing I don't like is that they still lock the 3-top weapon, hull, and special. You have to get the hull first, because there is a lot of people with ironclads that didn't get the Mauser either. And if they were able at least to get in this raid the Millennium, they would do a favor to themselves. But they have to first within the cannoneer. I know that it has been said, oh, I want first the hull, I want first the weapon. But in this set, for example, if you don't get that Millennium and that special, it doesn't matter if you have the cannoneer, because the cannoneer with the old tech we have is not going to work that well. So,
You know what? When I started, I had Arbalists on mine, and I could do the 73s. That's what I was doing, is I farmed the hell out of the 73s. You know what I mean? And after I refit, I mean, and this is the scary part. I had 4 cannoneers, and I was farming the 73s. After I refit them with the new guns, or mostly with the new guns and the new special, I have a video of one single cannoneer doing the 73 for like 9 minutes of damage or 13 minutes of damage. I mean, that's how big of a difference it is.
Yeah.
Just
that's the point.
I mean,
that's what I felt in the preview when I was there, because the first hour we were using the old tech, and it was, well, if this is like this, it's going to be a hard raid. But 1 hour later, they released the weapon and the special. I even put that weapon in special in the Ironclad, and both were doing amazing in the tier A, where the Ironclad was supposed to be for tier B. So that's for me the issue. They should not lock that, so you can go and access to the cannoneer, or to the weapon, or to the special in any order you want. I think that should help a lot of people.
I don't know if it's that, or if it's that they just misdesigned the cannons to be. I mean, because let's face it, they're exceptionally powerful, both of them, and it's a big jump in cannon power. I don't know that they needed to actually, rank up, the power curve that much. That might have mitigated the whole issue.
Yeah, they didn't. I know there's no actual tier 5 for Siege before this raid. It just wasn't out, but. I do the DPS and I try to keep track of such things, and they were actually doing a pretty good job with keeping things kind of in line, and not too big a leap, except in PvP. But they failed here massively. It's just so much more powerful, and the new gun is good on something that it isn't designed for, and you can just leave a couple Mousers on the Ironclad to splash at that whole platform anyways, but the Millennium gun is so much better, and there's not enough grouped up turrets that the Mousers get in a lot of situations in the A set. It's just, you should just run the new weapon and special on everything, and that's not how it should be. Also, quickly, refits. I think I estimated that putting the new gun, like taking off the guns I have, and a lot of them were Earthshakers and Siege Cannon S's for the combat speed and the quick build time. I had hoped that 94 range would work. It wouldn't really. Putting the new guns on, taking armor off, putting armor on, and I guess I'll switch out my CL3 to layered armor 3 now. That's all going to take somewhere around 30 days. That's the time between raids, just for refitting one fleet, not even building anything else, not doing anything else. It takes a month, and yeah, there's FM tokens, but that you shouldn't really need those.
Yeah,
you have to be caught up.
Off on change, like I was, because last night's show I was thinking about changing mine over to layered 3 after finding out some of the cannons were cannons, or some of the weapons were cannons. But I was looking at it today, and if you drive the cannoneer right, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, so I'm gonna save that time and not change it. If I had to build from scratch, I might.
One thing I was going to say there, mate, to be honest, just very much like the Apollo raid when that came through, you can build, if you've just got them and sorted them out now, you can build your cannoneers if you're very good at stopping short and grouping and those sort of things. You don't need any armor at all. You can get away without it totally. You can outrun anything that comes from the central rad cannons, you know, and you can definitely stop short. And even the ones that pinch and that sort of stuff, I'm firing so fast now on my Millenniums with obviously the new HVR that I just go straight into the triple stack ones there with the yellow, obviously, little building in front of me. And the first round takes that out, and the second round, I don't start. The second round then is already hitting the first cannon, or those 3 cannons, no problem at all.
Yeah.
I'm not getting pinched at all, nothing. You know, my reload is so quick.
I left 2 Mausers on each one of my cannoneers, and I have no armor. I didn't build them with armor just in case, because I was thinking about the whole thing with the Apollos. But you know, that special, the seal, I'm not going to change it because I don't think I need to. But if I were building it again, I'd probably start with layer 3 instead.
Yeah,
I would say that if you are skilled enough driving, change it. If not, keep it, because you know that some radioactive launchers are going to fall on you, and you would appreciate having the CL3 in that case.
Yeah.
But if you are skilled like you are yours, you can change it. In the test, it changed the damage in 1 hour at first when people was still learning.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm doing it. I'm not even bothering with, like, I might actually change it out to put drum reloader or something on it. That's how well I've been doing lately. So
I don't know. We'll see, mate. I mean, perfectly. I mean, so long as they stick to their plan. I can't believe I just said that. Okay. But the you know, the Millennium gun fitted on the cannoneer with the range of 100, it should be the kiting weapon, and you shouldn't have to take any damage.
Yeah.
You know, it's the skill one and that sort of stuff. So as far as I'm concerned, you know, I'm a reasonable driver. I can stack my ships and that sort of stuff. Same as when I was doing subs, and I was quite content that you know, once I got my speed up and that sort of stuff, and I could run away from obviously the rad damage coming from the flat jets, I was generally content. And if I made a mistake, it cost me. Same as the last raid, you know. If I'd kept straight and sweet, then I had no issues whatsoever, you know. So I'm going. I mean, I have got armor on mine only because I thought I needed it, but it's just the R2, the level 2 one, the real baby one for the radioactive. I've got nothing else in there at all. So I'm only 4 millenniums now.
You mentioned the other side of the argument is, you know, if you're in there and say it glitches or it lags or whatever, the CL3 actually might help you, because you might end up getting into range of something like
it didn't help my fleet yesterday.
Yeah. So
It did.
I'm very torn. I mean, if I could guarantee a connection and I was building them from scratch, I might go one way, but right now I'm not changing mine, because I don't think it's worth the time, my shipyard time, to do it.
Yeah, that's true. I do put D1Cs on mine, even though I know a lot of people ran without armor on the Apollos. That base repair efficiency was pretty low, so it was actually pretty detrimental to put on armor. Here it's not the case, because the C armor line, but I think only the C armor line has a 0.6 repair efficiency versus 0.8. So even D1Cs, you take less ballistics, and you'll be depending on how much armor you put on, with those C armors, you'll be streamlining repair efficiency. But it's more repair time, you know.
Yeah, it all adds up, mate. It does. It stacks, doesn't it? It's something to consider, and that's just it. Because it's very much like the Apollos, like I was saying. I go back to them now. You know, you load them up with armor, and if you're a person that just goes and goes and goes until you've killed them, and then just log off the night, and then just go and wait till the next morning, then fine, crack on and do it that way, sort of stuff. But if you're a person that's you know, wants to just keep recycling, then make them as, you know, light as possible and the fastest sort of like, you know, repair time you can get. If you just get a glance, you might get away with just docking, and then obviously, as I've done a couple of times, docking and just hitting and getting 2 or 3 minutes on each of the holes as individuals. Well, you can't do it for free out on the sea. You can certainly go back into your base and do it again, sort of stuff. You know, that's another way of doing it. So, yeah, interesting. I have to say, it is really interesting. Right, so 2 things I've just got quickly that I was just going to show people was, and we can chat about it or not chat about it, doesn't really make a difference. One is basically, I was going to talk about some positives in the game. You know, we try to do some of those, couldn't we, to be honest? That's the build, if you can see that there, that's the build that I've gone with, or I've ended up with, sorry. And you can see then on that hull there then, but the DPS is quite considerable, to be honest. I mean, I haven't R15 anything, that sort of stuff, but you've managed to get a full set of obviously millenniums on that build there with the CL3 and obviously the HVR rounds and that sort of stuff, And look at the bracketed DPS, and that's why it is so crazy. And that's why it's so important to get the new cannons.
That's probably quite close to what I'll settle on for the next raid, to be honest. It's very close to what.
It's ludicrous. I mean, Kev, the ship v ship DPS isn't high, but the hitting base targets and that stuff.
Can you scroll over the gun real quick?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, here you go, mate.
What's the reload on it?
So for now, it's 0.36. It says there.
That DPS is wrong.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few. Yeah, it's much faster than that. I have to say, the reload, it's firing. It's almost like constantly firing when you see it. To be honest, it's nuts. It really is. I can't drive fast enough for the reload to cause an issue.
I'm just saying with that 0.36, the DPS that's shown on that is not accurate, because if you have 312,000 for ballistic damage in the parentheses and it's firing less than 3 times a second, it's not going to be 120 at 1 point.
Yeah, and then look what it's like. Look, so there's the H I've just put in front. Okay. And now look at the DPS. Look, so I was just showing that without it, because people weren't necessarily getting the H as well. I get that because it's a lot of points, But obviously, we know the boost that produces and that sort of stuff. So that's putting up at 2 million now on your DPS.
And remember how important are those flagships at the end? It's called Zoe Apollo. It was Harlock Tie Seeker, and now it's going to be Harlock Cannoneer for what it seems.
And obviously, bear in mind, I'm using this special. I'm only using this print. I'm only using this print because it rolls quite nicely and it gives you 20% building damage as well. So clearly, if I was to clear that slot there, you'd be down to 1.6, which everybody. Brian, you were saying it was 1.6, wasn't it?
I think I used the wrecking crew or something like that.
Yeah, there's a few good.
That one is good as well, because and easy to get. Maybe for the people that is not as easy to get uranium like the rest, because I think that even go on the free rolls that you get daily.
So Wrecking Crew is a good one, like nearly 2 million. So that's also a decent one as well. So there's a few real low level sort of so that one you should be able to roll quite reasonably. And if you are lucky on the free rolls, you can probably get up to not that darn thing because you don't want them unstacking. Sorry, it's obviously the this one here.
I was just about to say that the no star crew, the Wrecking Crew, is it?
Yeah, that's what I just showed up, mate. Sorry, it's a bit of a delay.
That's the same one I used in the video. I mean, I just had it laying around in my dock as well. I don't even know where I got it from. I just threw it on and it worked a treat. So.
Also, for those that go with one ship only, maybe with a flagship called the Highlander or any other, you can also use the Midnight Marauders, because when you're running one ship only, you don't care.
It will matter, yeah. And you're right, yeah. If you only just went for that one ship and you managed to get this one, a bit like the Harlock Ironclad and that sort of stuff. Yeah, you're right. So you can jump up and you can get Midnight Marauders as well. As we know, the statistics on that are really, really good. While it looks DPS stock is still 1.6 there, which is fine. But when you mouse over it and they tells you you get 20% speed bonus. As it starts to die, that is last 40 minutes. And you get defense bonus and obviously you get the damage bonus as well. So it's quite a decent one. To be honest, it works quite nicely if you're single shipping it. Which I think, to be honest, you probably could, but you do definitely take some damage. But I've managed to use the Harlock's Cannoneer and 2 Cannoneers, and I can still do the 70s targets for no damage as well. Even if I do get clipped, I can put one back in and get fixed, and when I bring another one out, because I've got 4 of them. So it is possible. It does work. So that was that. Another thing which Andrew I know flagged up basically, just remind people that there we go. The skirmisher targets on the world map. Okay, so there's Drachamaras. Okay, will not be spawning after the 18th. So as soon as the raid's finished, basically, just to remind yourself, then obviously we're going to go to the Reaver ones as well. So it's 35, the 57, the 75, the only ones you're going to see. Okay, and bear in mind then they changed the system, as I've said before a couple of times, that if your sector isn't in, is in teal, even if somebody else's sector isn't, then if you're going and hitting in their sector, you will only score the bare minimum. So for 35, you would only get 50 uranium. That's it, 50, instead of the 5,000, and likely 300 for a 75 instead of the 33,500. So just bear that in mind.
And kudos to Kickside, because for once they have put that on the top of the pages.
Yep, I've seen it. Yes.
You can read it.
Yeah, it takes you straight to the briefing note, doesn't it, about it as well? So, and they should use that screen a lot more. I think, to be honest, it's undervalued and underused. I think sometimes. But yes, kudos to them this time. They've done well. Right. So I'll just take that off screen share a second. So should we talk about prizes, because we've had good 35 minutes about whinging. So we can't have a whole hour of whinging. It wouldn't be a good idea, would it? So we ought to find something that's reasonable to talk about. Prize pack. What do you reckon then, guys? Brian, what do you reckon? So you got 30 million. Go on.
30?
Yeah.
So I have the Cannoneer. So finish up the top left for me. 30 mil exactly. Then that's tokens or alpha. I'd probably take the alpha because I'm realizing that A, I can't get the limited flagships, and B, if it's going to be like this crap, I might not want them too terribly much. So that frees up some shipyard time to save me 5 days worth of tokens.
Yeah, I think tokens are pretty worthwhile. Definitely. I mean, if you're not one that normally gets tokens, you get prizes. I think this time, just because the way the things are rolled out, I think prizes are actually less important maybe than basically getting some catch-up time with obviously the prizes that you've already won or you've just picked up in the raid as well, because I think you definitely need it, to be honest. Yeah, it's interesting. What do you think about the lock price store? Do you see any worth in it this time?
No. I still think that people at Kicks don't understand what numbers are. And somebody threw in an extra 0 on that Agility 4 price. And
I was just about to bring that up myself. I noticed it was about 5 million, and I was just like, wait, what?
What's this for?
I almost redeemed one, and I was just thinking to myself, nah, not fucking redeeming that, sorry.
Yeah, we
5
said
million
that on the
for-
last show. I mean,
Since that they must
We
be
thought it was
running
a
out of
typo.
them because they went from 1 million to 5 in just 1 month. They must be running out.
Do you think that's the case? You think that's what it is?
I don't know.
I mean,
but
they're limited
These
prices.
are
Just
like
so many
special
shops.
edition, and they're only to be sold like as like 1 or 2 or something like that, and you'll never see them ever again.
Yeah, so
Much.
agility system for 5 million. I mean, wow. I mean, hello. It's
That-
interesting, isn't it? And then obviously one for the. Has anybody actually been using this special armor
Not in-
as well?
I
No, it's
put
the
it
Conqueror only
first
one, right?
on my Cannoneers,
Oh, no, it's not. No,
and
it's
I got to refit it after.
It's weird, isn't it? I
Yeah,
just
not
don't-
since
Go on.
not since the preview.
Yeah, it's
When
interesting.
we're not getting stunned by anything. No point.
Yeah,
Oh,
and,
that's
and,
still times
and-
5.
and it's still times 5, which I think is good. If it's, do you know, of all the things that are in the lock store, I think that's the best thing in there.
Oh,
Yeah.
by far.
I think that's a cracker. Okay, we are 4 months
Sure.
behind it first started, but I think that's pretty decent.
If you can't get the alpha, but you can get up to the lock store, that's 11 million cheaper. It's got better countermeasure resists. You can put your standard resistance stuff on it. It's not as durable, but it's still good, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely
that's
got
a
worth
fun
the counters. It's definitely a worthwhile ship, and I know Ren's. I still stick with Ren's build that he did for the ballistic build that he made. It's still a potent weapon. And imagine if you put these. Oh, you can't put Millennium guns in, but probably you can do Mausers. What's the? I don't know what the normal damage is for the Mauser. Is it 4,000? Something like that, isn't it? You could probably put.
I don't know. I haven't played with that yet.
No, it'd be interesting to see if you loaded it up with Mausers instead and see what it would do.
The
Can't
best
use it.
ship, or the best weapon for a guard is crossbow 3. That's the highest ship damage to override deflection.
If only it had a range of 50, though, eh? That would just really stick
Oh,
to it
isn't
and
the
make it
hammer
level.
cannon pretty good? I can't remember. Can someone
Yeah.
get it up on the screen? I was going to say, I used that on a Gamma or something, and I'm pretty sure it's pretty good.
2440 reload 5 salvo 2 concussive 1220. It's French 50. I think it's okay, I guess.
So I've only just.
Comparison with that, 'cause
This
I
is
don't care.
my quarrel with Kickstarter as well. I mean, I literally just refitted the hammer cannon or whatever it's called onto my Gamma, and then they were like, Alpha Behemoth will be yours. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, I saw the
Every time,
alpha.
I swear.
Did you see the video someone's posted up of the alpha in work? They haven't ranked it, sorry, but I have to say they fitted it, and it's got its 5 UAVs on it, that sort of stuff. It's interesting. I still can't work out whether I like it or not. You know,
I like it just for the 95 thermal.
yeah, it's good for that. I have to say. You know,
I mean, it's a tank as well. I mean, it's more tankier than the original Gamma, and it's got more thermal, so I'll probably swap out my Gamma for this Alpha. I mean, even if I just throw countermeasures on it and throw it in the back of my base, as long as it's got that 95 thermal, I'm not bothered.
The only thing I am not buying it yet is that Bloodthirsty is using, because, man, if you have to wait to kill 4 of the 5 ships on a fleet
to get it,
just to get that max power you can have, with one ship left, probably you're not going to kill, because the guy that is hitting you is just going to retreat. So what's the point?
Yeah, I agree. Because your UAVs, you want to do some damage or do something at least, and to get them to do something worthwhile, it's nice to have the bloodthirst up to make your ship last longer and help the other ships as well. But to do that, you've got to let your ships die. It's a bit of what are you gonna do? Put 4 gunboats at the front and hope it does always work? It's just not going to work, is it? It's frustrating, and you can't really build 5 of them, or someone's going to come in with lots of phalanxes and then basically just ignore you altogether, and they're going to drive past you.
Yep.
Yeah, put Bullseye Brigade and say,
ships. Yeah. See you later. Yeah, absolutely. So it is. It's just like I say, it's a spanner in a toolbox, but that's all it is.
Yeah, I think it's more I've been saying. I think it's a support ship of all things. That this is like our first real support ship that's supposed to be mixed in somewhere to help everything else.
Yeah, it's just a shame that aura isn't a little bit more, because what was the aura on it? Was it 60 or something like that?
I think it's 45.
45. Yeah. So
it was 45.
One thing I would like to ask Kokixai, since they normally listen a lot to our shows, is that since they screwed that good in the misleading and the releasing of the stuff, please make that Hardlock Cannoneer and the Hardlock Ironclad are in the second of the raid events as well. Agreed. So people get a chance to get it, because I get that Hardlock Cannoneer is going to be a must for the last of the events.
I think that's a definitely good idea. Yeah, because obviously for some individuals for the price pack now, they're just literally getting their cannon in now, because they couldn't get 90 million last time, so they're getting their cannon in now for the 15 and that sort of stuff, and the weapon and the special. They'll build them hopefully with something on them and try and get some rank, and probably have to do a bit of dancing in the next raid. But at least then they can go forward and just say, do you know what, I'll get my 30 million, that sort of stuff, and hopefully it shouldn't be. I don't think it should be 30 million for the Harlock one next time, maybe 20 and that sort of stuff, and then they can pick it up in preparation for the last one of the cycle.
I wanted to see the build times on those be a little bit less, because of the way that they released everything. Because honestly, we're going to want to build them both.
Yeah, true.
The ironclads are going to be what we're going to do for our chores later on, but for the raids, we want our cannoneers. So I mean, this is not long build times.
But
a little less nothing.
Are you going to auto with the ironclad? Because unless they fix the auto in path, I don't know if it's sure.
Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Because the targets that I've seen that I think are going to be map targets are the ones that will force you to come in the same spot every time. And the ones that I've seen so far, I have not had an issue. Yeah, I've not had an issue with them having hang-ups and stuff. The ones I'm having issues with hang-ups are the ones that let you come in anywhere. So
yeah, I've got a set path. So I've not experienced any hang-ups at all personally, but my set path may not be the same as everybody else's set path, And I keep pretty broad, obviously, because I'm counting everything, so I'm not getting near anything at all. Whereas the ironclad, whether you're close or far, it doesn't make a difference. You just want to get things dead as quick as possible, don't you? So and keep driving.
I do think
not stopping.
Yeah, I do think that they've actually thought through that part of it, and that's why those targets you're forced to come in the same spot every time.
What do you think? I'm just wondering, right? And I haven't built it, and I probably won't ever build it, although I've just won it. The Harlock Ironclad. If you think about these A sets now, most of the damage is coming because you can't outrun, some of that rad splash and that sort of stuff. But obviously, you're going to get a big speed boost as well, which should negate quite a bit of the damage, surely, shouldn't it? Don't get a reload, but you get an extra ship. So by the next raid, you could have 5 ships built. Even if you did manage to pick up the special as well. And then that might be quite an interesting fleet,
right?
Rather than worrying about cannoneers and stuff like that, because the good thing about the ironclad, it's going to be good for later, and even if these do become the 73s, particularly do become the next slot to go and get your base parts and that sort of stuff, that the ironclads can do it. So in some respect, for the longevity, the ironclad still may be the way ahead if you can accept a bit of damage, doing your raids.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of playing with weapons and other specials that can give you boost, and see if you can even get that engine off and put something extra to do more damage. If you're playing with a Harlock Cannoneer and, for example, those air shakers can do something that gets to 40 speed, you know that you can play with the Harlock Ironclad and even do as many did in the last raid. Make the Harlock Ironclad even sit on a corner if you don't want to get damage.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, because you'll just build. Is it 13 days for the Cannoneer one, and what's the build time for the Harlock Cannoneer? Sorry, the Harlock.
I think they both were 13 something days.
Yeah, it's 12, 13 days between both. Each of them, sorry.
Yeah, Huggy's got the Harlock's Ironclad down as 11 days, 15 hours with R&D 30, and obviously a crew fixing. An engineer on it as well. So, I'm not sure if that's just because that's set at that level. Probably is just because I've said it. Let me just go back to standard and see what it says. A second, hang on. Yeah, so he's got 12 days and 9 hours is what Huggy's put up.
I think it's 12 and 1 day more for the Cannoneer, 13 and 12.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, interesting. I have to say, it's so I'm just trying to look at quickly what's the base speed for what's an Iron's base speed with obviously R15 retroed, and I'll just quickly nick it up a minute and have a look at it, because that would be quite interesting. Hold them. I think you could probably do quite reasonable, because, like I say, I think most of the damage is coming because you're getting splashed from those big sets, especially in the 71s where there's a triple set, isn't there?
Yeah.
Well, no, it has the potential to do the tier A if you build it well. I don't know if the people have seen that video that I Kill Your Fleet, I think is the name of the guy, posted over there.
Yes.
The Highlander, one single Ironclad. It's taking him a while because he's a single ship killing all the targets in the tier A, but he's doing it for less than 2 hours repair.
Yeah, which is reasonable, isn't it?
Not that bad.
Yeah, it's quite decent, isn't it? Yeah. But I suppose it gives people options. But for me, I think for longevity and obviously what's coming up and where we're going to go with obviously potentially the next set of obviously base points, items, that sort of stuff. I think the Ironclad will be the one that will stay the longest, maybe. Unless you want to drive, obviously, like we do. A lot of people are kiting with Apollos on the previous formats.
Yeah, I always suggest that people drive a bit, because it's not. When they get into a new raid, they don't know how to drive, and then is when people get damaged, when they get closer and don't know how to kite and stuff like that. But, well, if people want to auto, there it is.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Okay, so we've got 10 minutes left. We've got anything else you want to discuss while we're here, by the way? Holsh, come on, mate. You've been quiet. Come on. You must have something you want to talk about, buddy. He's that quiet, he's gone off there. No, he's there.
Died.
He's there, mate, because he's in chat talking. I know he is, and that sort of stuff. We can't hear you, mate, anyway.
Did he lose his mic?
He was grinding A sets and he went, fuck this shit.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm sorry. I was spacing out right there. I'm watching the football game also, so.
Already, okay, mate. So anything apart from ratings, is there anything else you want to discuss? Obviously, we've mentioned the fact that obviously the uranium targets are changing on the 18th and that sort of stuff. Is there anything else in the game that's positive or negative, or that you... Should we talk about... we mentioned it on the midweek, on our Tuesday show, but what about offers and cheap deals or not so cheap deals? What do you think about those?
I can't say that on this show.
I don't ever coin, so I don't get any of those.
That's a valid point, though. That's a valid point. Free to play, but not necessarily free to win, hey?
I wonder why they call them deals, because when you make the numbers, what's taking you to get that same BXP in the BXP weekend? Hell, I think it's the 10% of what they want you to buy, but I don't know.
Yeah,
BXP is just.
Well, some of the BXP weekends have actually been quite expensive. The Cannoneer one was quite expensive. Yeah.
The Cannoneer one.
So that Cannoneer deal was actually okay.
But the Cannoneer one, for example, it depended on how you plan to do it. I think yours did for free, others paid 6 times the repair. But if you get 6 times the repair and multiply for what it costs, and you compare to what it is the offer, I think that you keep doing the BXP weekend.
But what I will say as well, I know that time limited offers suck, and I barely ever buy them myself. But I noticed that they brought in was it 5,000 VXP tokens for Cannoneer, which actually saved one of my fellow Addy mates' raid, because he had 3 Cannoneers built, and they were kind of not ranked, so he couldn't do anything. Like, I mean, I tried to do a 7-4 just so he could, blitz and then maybe wait until next raid, and I timed out before completing. It was that bad. So if he hadn't have gotten that deal at the time, then he wouldn't have been able to do the raid. So, I mean, there are some plus and bad sides.
That brings up an actual really good point, because there was a specific post, and I don't know if we have it or not, but there was a specific post that said that these targets were not going to be tuned to the Cannoneer with the Millennium Gun and blah blah. Yeah, I'm not.
Oh yeah, from Doom.
Anymore.
Yeah, that was a crack of shit.
Yeah, I didn't want to mention that because I know it's been brought up on the page before, but yeah, there was a statement made, wasn't there, to say that basically these targets are tuned for the Ironclad. To auto was one point, and also tuned for the fact that you didn't need the Harlock to achieve to finish. And in some respects, this latter part is feasible. And I suppose you could loosely say that, yes, you probably can alter the targets, but I don't like the repair bill afterwards. It's
Yeah,
huge.
that's true.
And all over we kept hearing, this can auto this and this can do this, and some mods and some blogs were saying, oh yeah, Sense can do this and that, and they're tuned to Sense, and Sense will do well, and that's not really what's been happening. Like, everyone has been horribly wrong in any sort of, like, with any connection to Kixeye, has either blatantly lied or been fed misinformation and been lied to. Like, the people that actually designed the raid, I don't think they know what they're doing in the slightest, and they did it incredibly wrong. And gating the tech to do the raid behind a literal paywall, they need to look at their monetization again and see how well that's working. Because, yeah,
that's a fair point. Yeah.
It's garbage.
I think that could have been, that could have probably been handled a little bit better. I don't know. I mean, the problem is, was there enough time to put it into like a TLC or something, or?
Well, they slammed the Mauser on us the week before the raid. They could have done that too.
Yeah.
And, they should have done it 2 weeks earlier if you're asking me, but,
With the Zoro Retribution, the same week, people was still on holidays, so got time to do the 2 TLCs, and I think they would have been better prepared for the raid.
Yeah, I didn't do that TLC because I don't PvP. And that's the thing. It's like, you can pick. Do you want the Zoe's rat? Do you want the stuff for the Cannoneer? Maybe you can do both. Hey, that's awesome. But for those... garbage.
Brian, you sound frustrated, man.
I am full of salt. Like, these walls, that's all crushed salt, just all on those walls.
You need some water, is that what it is?
Rumors say that
You need to chill the fuck out, get a drink of water, sniff some Pro Plus, and grind the fucking raid, dude. What the fuck?
Sniff some Pro Plus.
Like, what the hell, man? You're so salty.
So Ryan, it's through the rumors saying that your mom got to buy all new dishes because you broke all the old ones.
No.
Oh yeah, he definitely did that. You can tell by the look on his face.
So last thing I thought we'd do in the last 5 minutes is that, and that's basically, so we won't say people have got to go win the Cannoneer and that sort of stuff, and then go win the Harlock Cannoneer, and then try and be all built by next month, because that'd just be foolish of us, and most people will be able to do that. It's just unachievable. But I think with the fact that there was that TLC, that people could get some ironclads and that sort of stuff, or maybe not. Maybe they've got those ironclads and they just want to build one ship. So I was thinking about the Harlock's ironclad. And that sort of stuff, and I sort of come up with a rough build. I don't know if you just discuss it there quickly. So that's what I was looking at. Now with everything at R15, which I'm not saying you can get it all to R15, and just fitting 2 Earthshakers because they've got reasonable DPS as well. Look, you're getting a base speed there at 47.96. Now that's faster than my Cannoneers are at the moment, by the way. So you can definitely outrun the Rad at that speed. Okay. So you wouldn't need too much radioactive deflection, radioactive protection there, because you can outrun those Central Island big radiation guns, that sort of stuff. And so that's why I went with layered armor 3 at R15 as well. And if you look at the target protection there for ballistic, you're getting pretty decent protection. 98% you're up to there. So it's not too bad. And even radioactive is 95, but obviously, it's not. It multiplies very quickly within the last few percentage as well. DPS is quite reasonable, and that's Mauser cannons. Yes, it does go up further if you want to use, obviously, the Millennium cannons, but to be honest, that's just more points to go and grab as well. But and yeah, I have put the special on Spell's coat, so the high velocity rounds is there. But that takes quite a bit to get that special, so there are other options as well. But what do you think about that build, guys? Do you think that's a reasonable sort of option for somebody?
I like it. I like it. It's just that I can't stand the fact that the points that you're required to get it. I mean, if you're already there to get those points.
I'm just thinking this raid format, and in the next 6 months as well, or 4 months. Sorry, doing your base parts and that sort of stuff. That one ship should do it all.
30,
if you can get
if you can get the 30,
go on.
If you can get the 30 mil for this, and you get the special, you should have the gun in one fashion or another. Otherwise, the last 2 raids of the cycle are going to be incredibly difficult. And I haven't found, I know there's those grouped up platforms. There's 3 of them in the 75, and that's it. So personally, I'd put on Millenniums, but I can understand putting on Mousers. They do all right.
Yes, makes a bit of Mousers on Millennium. So you get the splash for helping start killing the other ones. Or if you make a mistake, at least they kill the AMP that dies in the first shot. And you can save yourself by just pulling away.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, I toned down you saw the build earlier when I was doing, I toned down the speed on my Cannoneers because actually I noticed in the preview that, in fact, Stu was laughing his head off, to be honest. The glitching we got, not the glitching, but the lag we were getting once we got them over about 50 was just crazy. It was awful. I couldn't control a darn thing, and I couldn't stop and all that sort of stuff. So, I toned them down a little bit. And actually, then when I did the refit, ready for the build for the real-time raid, I actually decided to take off all the S cannons altogether, and I went with a 46 flat speed, and they've been fine. I've not taken any splash damage whatsoever from those central.
You should correct yourself there. I was laughing at you, not the
previous. Sorry.
Just you.
Am I really, incomprehensible driving style?
It was amazing. I've never had such a laugh my whole entire life. I lead a really sad life, Dan.
Yeah, it was quite funny. But so okay, that's a 19-day build. So that's without tokens. That's a feasible one for the next raid. And I think I'm not saying you're going to go and blitz things off straight away and that sort of stuff, but that's quite a reasonable amount of damage. And I think you definitely do the B sets just with that one ship. And if you have got a couple of irons already built that you've just managed to win this with, you could, with a few tokens that you might get in the last bit of the last week of the FM, you might be able to just upgrade those with a couple of components, and you might have 3 ships then that would do the job quite nicely.
Since you have it open, can you change the hull for the normal one without the boost and see how it works for people?
Oh yeah, I was just going to do that. Funny enough, actually, I was just going to take that one out and then pop in the standard one and just see what it's like with a flat out. You mean if you just then went for the high velocity rounds and nothing else?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well there you go. That's it. Well, in fact, we can put a couple of those in a second. So let's get your DPS.
3936 is barely 40, and that's the medium you need to do well.
Yeah, it's 40, isn't it?
So this build could help.
Two of those. So fleet damage. Oops, wrong thing I'm looking at here. So fleet damage there then, which is reasonable. Look, ballistic at 890 for 2 ships. So that's reasonable. That's quite decent to be honest. That's equivalent to 1 Cannoneer. So yeah, not too bad. Not perfect.
So I got a question for you guys. If we have a player that has just 30 million, right? They got nothing right now. They're coming in fresh. They got 30 million points. What would y'all recommend?
The Cannoneer, Millennium.
Cannoneer, new special, new weapon.
Top left.
Yeah, left without a doubt.
Stupid question. We all agree. Move on. I'm joking. But no, sure, definitely Cannoneer, new weapon, new special.
All right. Because some people are asking whether or not they should get that HIC now. And I'm like,
that's 30 million points by itself, man.
It is, but the Cannoneers, I mean, it's the build time on the Cannoneers, isn't it? Because it's going to take you, 14 days probably to do a Cannoneer loaded out with that sort of stuff.
I mean,
not to say that
the real question is, what type of player are they? I mean,
he doesn't have Mauser.
I mean, are they like an auto player, which is going to take a lot of damage? So, I mean, they'd have to be a coin, or are they, someone that wants to drive and do shit as cheap as physically possible? Which,
Yeah.
in that
I don't
case,
know,
it
mate.
would be Cannoneer.
Yeah. Tia, what was your point, mate? Sorry,
Yeah.
say again.
I said that if you get those 30 millions and you take the Hardlock Ironclad, you don't have the Mauser, so you are not going to be able to do the build.
That's a
And
fair
with
point.
all the other weapons, you don't do it.
No, I agree, actually. No, you're absolutely there because you need... Yeah, that's a very valid point. Yeah, so that puts that... So if you're doing it already with 2 irons, then maybe you might want to go and get the Harlock Ironclad, and then, yeah, you can blast around at 47, and then do a reasonable amount of damage. And I think you do quite well, to be honest, on the B sets, as on the 70 targets, sorry, the A set, sorry. You do very well. What happens in the last raid, I have to say, when they traditionally crank things up, I really don't know, to be honest. Or whether they aren't going to crank things up because we're on 3, 3 on a cycle, not 4 on a cycle. I'm not really sure, to be honest. We'll have to wait and see. Because if people are just getting their... Yeah, because if people are getting their Cannoneers now, which some are because they couldn't get the 90, which means next raid they might get the Harlock Cannoneer. It only gives them one more raid. That's an awful lot of build time and raid points just for a ship for one single raid format. So that's...
Yeah, and
I don't see the value
and
of
they
that,
can't-
to be honest.
Yeah, they can't really do anything else with that. And if they want to build Ironclads, well, I hope they have their FM sorted because they're not refitting those.
No, true. Yeah, very much so. Yeah. Okay, that's what I've got. That's it for time. That's the hour point. Anybody else got anything else to chat about?
No, I think we covered the top.
Yeah, I think we covered most of it. I mean, I do want to have some end on a positive note. I gotta say, I actually do enjoy the targets. I like the way they look. The design team actually, or whoever does the artwork team, did a fantastic job again. It's a shame that it really is a shame that this raid's as messed up as it is, because I think it had the potential to be fantastic, and
100%.
they fucked the dog on this one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, preparation, as Mark said earlier, and I'm sure we've all said, was horrible. But the look of the target, the way the targets feel, amazing. It's a really nice job of design. They look so good. Doesn't even feel like, a crappy Flash game anymore. It feels like it's got above to the next level.
And like I said,
As I said
if you have
yesterday-
the stuff, if you got the builds, I mean, it is really fun to do these targets if you got those builds. And that's
you've all
the if
played
I don't like.
Other Flash games, yeah. You've all played another Flash game in one way or another. I don't know what it could be, but anything, yeah. Half of them out there are absolutely terrible. There's no imagination in there. It's just some 2D crap on the screen or whatever. But this game, the design team on this game, they deserve all the credit for all the work that they do. It's unreal.
Cool. Right then, we'll just finish on this, and I'll just say good luck to everybody in the raid. We'll have a post-raid roundup. Okay, and Brian's already laughing. That's why I put this off. Okay, so just bear in mind the raid is not tuned towards having the Cannoneer or having the Millennium. Apparently, it's doable with the Centurions. Okay, and it's definitely doable with Irons. So just bear that in mind. Okay, you heard it there straight from Doom's mouth. Okay, and so bless him and that sort of stuff. So I'm sure you'll take some flack for that. But good night all. Enjoy the rest of the raid, and we'll chat to you on Tuesday. Take care.
Yeah. Have a good night, guys.
Later.
Everybody.